Welcome to another video here in Phuket Pals. And this is Teacher Marco, and today we will talk about the GED test on computer for GED Reasoning through Language Arts. I will be showing you the interface that the GED testing service is using, and we will go through some practice questions and their answers, as well as the explanations on why that is the correct answer. But the main focus today is to orient you or to show you how the interface looks like so that you will be familiar with the buttons and the functions and just how it looks like, the general orientation of the software that they're using. Okay, of course, since 2016, the GED testing service is exclusively using a software or an interface or a computer testing kit for their tests. Written tests are not done anymore, so they transition to a computer testing or computer-based tests. So before we begin, try to open this link on your computer. Just type in gd.com/practice-test/en/RLA/. Okay, and once you're done, you will go to this window. Okay, this is how it looks like. Of course, in your actual test, it will show this on your first page. So let's try to read. Welcome, candidate name. Let's say Michael. Here is some information that you need to know before you start this test. You should not spend too much time on a question. If you're not certain of the answer, answer it the best you can and go on to the next question. If you are not certain of the answer to a question, you can mark your answer using the flag for review. I will be showing that later on the question screen. At the end of the test, you can return to the question using the question review screen. Some questions are based on materials presented on the left side of the split screen. Make sure to read each page on the left side before trying to answer the questions on the right side of the screen. Click the next button in the lower right corner of the screen to begin. So let's click on that. And this is how it looks like. This is the flag for review. So for example, I'm not sure about this answer. I'll click on that. And then later on, it will show me these questions where I flagged earlier on. Now, of course, on the actual test, you don't have this option where it shows you the answer and explanation. Of course, this is a free practice test from the GED.com website. So it shows you this. But of course, on the real test, this will not be present. But this is how it actually looks like. This is really how it looks like. Of course, you don't have 10 questions only, but for this test, this practice test, of course, they only gave us 10. So let's try to look at it. Of course, I can't show you everything on my screen, so you have to access this link for you to be able to read the passage. Lessons on the Savannah by Roland Smith. I'm not so worried about time anymore, I said. So yeah, just have your time to read. If you have the link, just read it. And yeah, so there. Let's try to read it anyway. Let's try to practice the questions. I'm not so worried about time anymore, I said. He smiled. Good, you're making progress. Come with me. He led me to a tree not far from the camp. You must climb as high as you can and find a comfortable branch where you could look out over the savannah. He handed me the water gourd. You will need this. I took the gourd. What about you? I will be too busy to drink, he said. I didn't know what he meant by this, but I climbed the bone-dry tree anyway and found a large branch near the top that was comfortable. Can you see the grass of the savannah? So Pete yelled up to me. Yes, I shouted back. Good. What else do you see? Here we go again, I thought. I looked carefully. Shimmering waves of the heat created mirages in the distance. I saw the three kopjes within a half mile of each other. Trees dotted the landscape, and there were several small groups of animals grazing on the dry grass of the savannah. About 150 yards away, a herd of zebras took advantage of the shade of the acacia tree. A few hundred feet past the herd were a few more trees, and underneath them were two rhinoceroses sleeping. I told Pete what I saw. Watch me, he said, and remember this will take some time. If you lose track of where I am, look to the zebras and work your way back to where you last saw me. I will, I said, still confused about what was going on. So Pete walked briskly out into savannah, then stopped. He slipped off his sandals and shuka, then reached down for something finished. He lay down and rolled on the ground, then got back to his feet. From head to toes, he was covered with red dust and blended in perfectly with his surroundings. So basically, you will have some hyper numbers here, or hyper notes, and then you will have the description of some confusing words here. So don't worry too much. Of course, they will provide some word descriptions for a vocabulary that are really difficult. But for, of course, some expected vocabulary that you should know, there will be no descriptions. For several minutes, he stood perfectly still. Look at the zebras beneath the acacia tree. Then he began to move very slowly in their central part. Each step was exaggerated and painfully slow. Sometimes he froze mid-step, holding his leg up for several minutes before putting his foot gently on the ground. The closer he got to the zebras, the slower he went. Twice I took my eyes off him and had trouble finding him again. When he was 20 feet away from the zebras, they still gave no sign that they knew he was there. It was incredible. They swished their tails at the flies and looked out over the savannah as if nothing were happening. I waited for Pete to rush in on them, but instead he moved even more slowly. In fact, the only way I could tell he was moving was by looking at the spot he had previously occupied. He literally inched his way toward them. I wondered how long it had taken him to perfect this technique. If Pete could make himself essentially invisible, he could do just about anything, including make it rain. Finally, he was close enough to one zebra to touch it, which he did, slapping it on the butt. The zebras jumped around in confusion, then in panic bolted across the savannah. Pete stood under the acacia tree laughing at the joke he had played on them. I climbed down and jogged over to him. When I got up to him, I told him that it was the most amazing thing I had ever seen. It's actually a game, he said. When we were boys, we practiced with rhinoceroses when they were asleep. The first boy places a rock on the rhinoceros' back without waking it. The next boy takes the first boy's rock and places his own rock on the back, and so on, until someone makes a mistake and wakes the rhinoceros. And my parents used to worry about some of the things my friends and I did in New York City. It's great fun, Pete said, until the animal wakes up that is. He laughed. Rhinoceroses are easy. Rhinoceroses have few enemies and are not as alert as animals they preyed upon. The tribe taught me to stalk many other animals. You must be exhausted, I said. I could use a drink of water. I handed him the gourd and he took a big drink. Would you like to learn? Yes, all right, he said. But by the time we finish, it will be too late to travel. I don't care. Good, we will stalk the rhinoceroses by those trees. Try not to wake them though. Good safety tip, I thought. From the Thunder Cave by Roland Smith. Okay, so it's a really interesting story of how the two boys, or how these two people, had fun on a very hot day, and basically, so Pete was trying to show these narrator how they played this particular game, and how they learn how to stalk and do some silly stuff and play with the zebras as well as the rhinoceroses. Now, what I advise you to do is always spend a lot of time reading. By that, you will have lesser time to answer. Of course, there are specific questions related about this passage. Let's take a look at it. Which quotation from the passage supports the idea that Sapit is teaching the narrator a skill that requires patience? A. I will be too busy to drink. Each step was exaggerated and painfully slow. When we were boys, we practiced with rhinoceros. The tribe taught me to stalk many other animals. So what's your answer here? Of course, it's B. Right? It's pretty obvious. So basically, there, once you have selected your choice, go to the next one, and then choose another one here. Which fact can the reader infer about the narrator? He is experienced in working with animals. He is in a hurry. He was nervous about traveling savannah. He was raised in a city rather than in the wilderness. A fact is something that cannot be changed. All right, so what do you think is the answer? All right, so the answer is a D. You cannot change where you were born or raised, right? Experience can be changed. All right. In a hurry is an opinion. Nervous is also an opinion. Experience is subjective, so meaning it can change. So there you go. As you can see, we have 3 questions related to this passage, letter B. And the same goes on the next one. You have another passage here. You might have 3 or 4 questions related to this. All right, so question number 4 is A. Let's not get into that. Now you will have these question types where you will have to drag and drop some options here. Okay, Matthew explains. Okay, Marula tells Anne. Okay, what's the next one? Marula decides. Okay, and that one, and then there, oops. Marula decides. And that one, and then there. For this one, yep, there you go. That's the answer. And yeah, you have some drag and drop questions like this one. Dramatic, enthusiastic, disappointed. Dramatic, disappointed, enthusiastic, where you have to describe the character of Anne, one of the characters in this passage. So there you go. And you will have some grammar questions where it's in drop down, so you can just select on that. Yep, just for example, and then you can click on the next button, and same here. Let's just randomly select, okay? This is just me trying to show you how it works. And now for your extended response, you will have to read this sources. Of course, you have two sources. One who is in favor of a background of what is DST in America, or daylight saving time. Now, one who is arguing for DST and against DST. Now, this is your prompt. Analyze both positions. Of course, you will type your essay here. Of course, your essay should not talk about what you think, but rather should focus on which support or which source is best supported, which article is best supported, which one has better argument, which one is not biased, which one is more factual. So you have to argue that here, or write a response, and you'll have 45 minutes for that. Once you're completed, click next on continue, and then there. All the things that you flagged, you have an option to click on it again and go back and review your answers. But you can go back there, and then that's it. And then end review means you are submitting your answer, and then that's it. Of course, you will be offered to buy the GED Ready test. It's similar to this. But of course, you don't have the answers and explanations. Okay? There you go. I hope that I was able to share something to you today and help you and enlighten you on this particular topic about GED test and GED RLA. And yeah, that's how the interface looks like. But don't be intimidated. It's so easy to use, and yeah. So and if, of course, if you're confused and you had some problems with the computer or the interface while having the test, you can actually try to ask the help of the staff on the testing service, testing center, I mean. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in our next video. Again, this is me, Teacher Marco. If you want to know more about us, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/PhuketPals, or our website, that's phuketpals.org. Thank you so much for your time, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.